Steve. I love talking to Lapis. He's done a great job. Plenty of calls to get to, too. Here is Winnie in Massachusetts. Let's hear from him. I'm going to get Steve and Tori in the mix, too. Got to get his thoughts. Winnie, take it away. What's on your mind today, pal? What do you have? Winnie.
Well, I definitely want to talk NCAA, but I got to tell you something, Chris. Exciting news. My my son Jack, we just found out Friday night at about 8:30 p.m. that he got accepted to Wisconsin.
Wow. Wow. Is he going to go?
It's very likely. I would say most likely we're going to go there in a couple weeks to visit there, and he got into Indiana too. So it's like Russo versus Tory, Wisconsin versus Indiana. But Wisconsin was great. It was the last school we were waiting on too, and it was a little drama build up because it didn't come out until about 8 o'clock or so. So looking pretty good. And honestly, Chris, you and your son, you're the only people that I don't know you, but of course I feel like I know you. You're the only people I know of. We don't have any friends or family that have ever been to Wisconsin. So, I don't know how, some way, we're trying to meet with somebody or get on the phone with somebody or a Zoom call with a kid who's there already and what they think about it. I know you've spoken highly about it. Sounds like your son loves it there.
Well, he does. Here's the thing about Wisconsin. It's half a city school and half a campus school because Madison's right there. It's in Madison, and Madison's a hell of a town. So you got half the city there. You can live on that part of the campus, or you can live on the other part of the campus, which is a little bit more countrified. So you can do anything you want. My son decided to live in the city part because that's his personality. But if you like the little rural feel, a half a mile down the road, it's got a little bit more of a country feel to it. Now, Steve has told me many a time how good Indiana is, the campus. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is me now talking, and I'm not just saying this. I think Wisconsin's probably a little better reputation academically, and that's fair. I know. I'm not trying to be nasty or anything. If that means something to you, and that's no knock. And listen, my kids didn't get into Indiana, so Timmy didn't. I don't think. But Wisconsin, both schools can't go wrong. Wisconsin's a hell of a place. I'm very happy he went there. Nothing wrong with Indiana either. You need to go see it, though, get a little feel of it. Tough to get to from Boston. Tough to get to. Go ahead.
Yeah, that is true. A couple of flights, but anyways, yeah, we're very excited and just exploring the campus, visually online. We love that part of it. That there's the lakes and there's hiking trails. There's some nature to it, but yet you're in the city. So we're very excited and looking forward to going. I'll be sure to get back to you after we visit.
I'll be into that. Yes, I want to know that. Go ahead.
So. Yeah, of course, love the game Saturday night, and I'm a person that will not stay awake. If those games are boring, I won't stay up for it. And this game grabbed me pretty much from the tip. I loved how UCLA came out with the defense, and the one issue I had was I don't know, what was it, a full hour in between the two games?
More than that.
Long.
Yeah,
that was brutal.
That game. Very difficult. Well, the reason partly winning was because they used the one court, so it was a little more of a cleanup. But that first game was probably over about 7:15, 7:30, and the second game didn't start to 8:41. So that was a pain in the ass, 100%.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Point. Good point about the COVID. But I'm looking forward to tonight. I mean, first of all, I love the fact that usually when my horse isn't in the race, I usually root for the underdog. Almost all the time, or especially the team that's never won a title. And then tonight we got both teams that haven't won, so we're going to have some history made. And I started going back through some scores the last 10 years or so of these finals just to see, how close these games have been. Sometimes they all, gel up in my mind.
No, they're close. Games
but
are close.
I'm looking at the scores. There's only one game that I think was 12 points. Actually, there's one. The Villanova crushed Michigan was about 17 points, I see, difference. But most of the other games are within 8, 4, 6, 3. So just even last year, I remember the game, or 2 years ago with Virginia, it was an 8-point difference, but it seemed
it was an
overtime.
Overtime.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's right. I didn't remember the overtime exactly. So of course I knew it was a close finish. So I'm thinking we're going to have, that's a great point that Lapis made about Gonzaga maybe being a little tired because absolutely they can't go to sleep right after that win. I mean, they had to be up all night. Celebrating a little bit, of course, with some meat left on the bone. But just looking at these scores of the last decade and two strong teams, I mean, really these have been the two, and I watch college basketball during the season. These have definitely been the two top teams of the year. I'm excited for the ball game tonight. I will be awake unless this thing turns into a blowout.
Listen, it's a hell
despite
of a
the
game.
9:20 start time.
Too late. I agree. This is a hell of a game. 100%. Villanova and North Carolina was a close game. Michigan and Louisville was a very close game for a half. And it was still a pretty close game. That was a wonderful half, 50-50. This has got a chance to be a hell of a game. Now, Steve Torrey is in the house today. A lot to do with Steve. He's got a show tonight at 6. He'll be flying. Let's first get his quick reaction on the UCLA game. Steven, take it away, pal. Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, how often do we hear you throw that phrase around? Oh, it was a classic. It was a classic. This was a classic from every sense of the word. And what I loved about it was, and I was thinking about it last night, and actually I heard Tom Byrne mention it last night on his show, and he happened to be right. Usually it's like in a game like this, you're seeing like a million threes, and both sides hit threes. But you had how many tough shots did they hit that weren't threes? You know what I mean? It wasn't like it's so important to the game, the 3-point shot, and it was important in that game, but it didn't knock you over the head important. You know what I'm saying? Guys had to work.
Do.
They had to work their asses off just to get the shot making in that game was just phenomenal on both sides. And just terrific. I mean,
we talked about it with Steve. I mean, both teams, Steve shot over 55%. Yeah. What else do you want for crying out loud?
And there were limited turnovers on both sides. I think they both had 10.
I talked about that today. 100%. Yes.
So just such a really well played game, and one of the best sporting events that I can remember in a while, honestly. So I
said that today
terrific
too.
Night.
Yep. 17 threes taken by UCLA in 45 minutes. 21 threes taken by Gonzaga in 45 minutes.
It's a decent amount, but it's not a crazy
That's not overbearing.
Yeah,
it's not overbearing. Overbearing. All right. Does this game take something out of Gonzaga or help Gonzaga for tonight?
I think there's something to be said about the emotional toll, certainly. Like, I don't think, especially in this day and age with the protocols, that they were, like, running amok, partying till 5 in the morning. But it does take an emotional toll on you because, for about 24 hours, you're going to be told how great you are and you're going to relive it, and it's probably very hard to fall asleep. But I'll go the other way because how many times did we say going into this tournament, can they respond in a tight game? If they need to make a big basket, if they need to make a big stop, can they win a game that comes down to the last possession? And, maybe it came against a team that you wouldn't have expected to come against, given the fact that UCLA was an 11 seed and they had they barely squeezed in the tournament or whatever. But that sort of fits that description, doesn't it? I mean, so I'll look at it that way where, okay, they got that job done. And I think that makes them a little bit better moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand that. So you like Gonzaga to win tonight?
I do. I mean, you have to be careful because we're all falling in love with Gonzaga right now based on what took place. So Baylor's getting overshadowed here, and they're very good. So, to think we're going to have another classic like that would be like just a pipe dream, really. But hopefully we'll have a competitive game tonight, and I think Gonzaga's going to have enough to win.
And you would give up the 4.5. Now, the one thing that you will not like, the game had a very poor rating on Saturday night.
What was it?
Only 12 million. And 2 years ago, the Texas Tech game against Michigan State, which was the second semifinal, already also on CBS, did 16 million.
Wow. Yeah, that's too bad.
This game did a very – now, I don't know. They probably have an explanation for it. Maybe the bad first game, which only did $10.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the explanation will be from CBS to have they spin it in some way. College basketball is regular year, no momentum built. But I tell you, if they don't get 20 million people tonight, or if that game on Saturday, a team that's going unbeaten, 1-2 in the country, they had 20 million for Texas Tech, Virginia. If they don't have 20 million tonight, that's a rough. They got to get 20 million watching this game. I mean, that is for that game for UCLA with Los Angeles going to midnight in overtime, where the game was close for 45 minutes, not to barely crack 12 million. That's a very poor rating for a Final Four game. I have to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's going to be my follow-up. Would be like, based off what took place in that game, you would think that will carry some momentum into tonight, and it is a championship, and it is a team trying to complete a perfect season in terms of their record. I would think that they'll that kind of finish, I would hope, would carry some momentum over to tonight as far as the ratings is concerned, right? I mean, I would think so.
You would think so.
You're telling me that 14 million and 16 million in that semifinal game. That's Texas Tech is what, Lubbock? That's not a big market, and you have Michigan State. I guess Detroit.
I don't remember what the score was in that game. It was probably relatively close, but it wasn't overtime. It was the second game that night. Virginia played Auburn in the first game. But for that game to have 4 million more people than this classic the other night, which is one of the all-time great games in history of college basketball, and it's Los Angeles, it went to midnight, and it was OT at 93-90.
Yeah.
That is, I got to be fair. I know you like to kill me about these ratings.
Yeah, well, look, I would have expected a better rating by that, especially after you tell me the comparisons to semifinals the last time we had a tournament. That's I would have expected a bigger one. Yeah.
Duke, Wisconsin that year had 29 million in a championship game. Now, this won't have that. That's too high. 29 million is a great rating. They won't have that, but tonight they better. Now, a lot of it depends on the game, but tonight you got to get 20 million people watching this game.
Yeah,
I think you'd agree with me.
I would think they would, based on how that game finished and the storylines attached to tonight. These are the top two teams all year that everybody wanted to see, and they were supposed to play in December. The game got canceled because of COVID. They tried like hell to try to reschedule it. They did their best. Both schools, they were on the phone all year, and they just couldn't get it done. And this is definitely the top two teams in the country.
I'm actually glad they didn't play the game. And though it would have helped in a regular season, I think it helps the championship game tonight that didn't play.
Yeah, I would agree.
Actually I'm glad they didn't play the game. So you like Gonzaga in a close game?
Yeah, I do. I don't know which way I'm going in terms of a bet. Maybe I'll do an over like I did, over the weekend with both those
boy,
games.
Did we get lucky with Houston?
We sure did. Yeah, we sure did. I got 17 text messages. Take the bet back or keep. Guess
who was that? That was Ritter Keep. Yeah, and the fat guy down in Knoxville wasn't pleased either, blaming me all night. As usual, you picked the wrong game. But I picked that game because Kyle ran to his bookie in Boulder and put 20 grand on it. So I said, what the hell? If Kyle's got that kind of money to work
Well, you do realize now you don't actually have to use a bookie. That's
true.
But 20 grand. Yeah, I wish, because we hit. I wish that were true, but no.
Indeed. All right, you have a good show tonight at 6. Good job, Steve. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Let me mention one thing. Howard Stern tomorrow. I forgot to mention it. Howard Stern tomorrow, not for Steve, but for yours truly at 9 a.m. Is that correct?
That is correct. I've already been on the program before. People
yes, you have.
Way back in the day.
Have.
But you,
15 minutes. Yes.
Yes, you 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. First time since September of 2016. So we're delighted that Howard and the fellas have asked you back. It's going to be terrific. I look forward to it. And good luck to you. Enjoy.
All right, very good. Steve Torrey, we'll take a timeout. We continue.